Welcome, small group, but a mighty group. My name is Nikki Vandervoort. I work at the City of Cincinnati in the Office of Environment and Sustainability. My role there is on the energy team and sometimes with resilience hubs. So we are here because the city was awarded a grant and it has enabled us to put on this workshop series as well as a number of other things. And so I just want to say first, thank you to the Urban League for letting us have this here. Always like being back in this space. And also thank you to Donovan Energy. So we've got Andy and Tim over there, if you haven't met them before, and Emma and Ella over here. I'll also shout out to my OES colleagues, Eliana and Rachel in the back. So thank you for coming tonight. This is our first in a series of workshops, and this one is targeted towards homeowners. A little bit more on that Municipal Investment Fund that the city was awarded. So it's an EPA grant that was awarded to the Coalition for Green Capital, essentially to kind of get a national green bank started, among other awardees. And we are a secondary awardee, one of 49 communities across the nation, the only one out of Ohio, yay. And with our funds, we are working on market building activities. So what is that? That's a lot of education for consumers, developers, multifamily landlords, training for folks to upskill, and in being able to offer energy assessments and things like that. And we're also producing a couple of reports. We have a report coming out related to geothermal energy in Cincinnati, so ground source heat pumps. That's one of the last tax credits available through the Inflation Reduction Act. And we also have a report coming out related to Ohio House Bill 15 and how can the city and the county help leverage the clean energy provisions in that law. We also produced a public-private partnership plan and a project pipeline that's supposed to be representative of the community at large. So we've got, folks from UC and the zoo and a number of nonprofits that kind of contributed to that project pipeline to attract private capital to our area to encourage investment in clean energy projects, net zero buildings, net zero transportation projects, that sort of thing. And this runs through the end of this month. So it's a very busy month. I think we've got like 8-ish trainings, workshops, or the like happening throughout the month. If you're not very familiar with what the City of Cincinnati's Office of Environment and Sustainability does, I would say first and foremost that we are the stewards of the Green Cincinnati Plan, which is a plan that covers 8 categories. And today we're mostly specifically talking about buildings and energy, but also the plan covers things like mobility and zero waste. If you didn't know it, our office runs our recycling program. So if you want to learn more about what we do, we've got a link here. But the Green Cincinnati Plan has a goal of reducing emissions by 50% by 2030 and 100% carbon neutral by 2050. And these efforts through these workshops are kind of tied to a lot of those goals that are in the energy focus area. Specifically, what are some of the programs we've been up to lately? So Solarize Cincy. This is something that the office has done in the past and we're looking to bring back. So this is a solar co-op program for residents. We work with Solar United Neighbors. They are a national nonprofit, and they provide education to residents on how to go solar. They aggregate interested homeowners, and then they are able to go out and solicit proposals from solar installers, thereby, hopefully getting a cheaper price through that sort of bulk purchasing approach. So that's something we're looking to do in the fall for residents. And I'm also working with some of our nonprofit stakeholders in the community and Faith Communities Go Green to look into how could we potentially do something like this for nonprofits and houses of worship, because everybody's energy prices are going up. Warm Up Cincy is another program, and shout out to Rachel for leading that up. Yeah, helps prevent utility disconnections and making in-unit and whole building improvements, sort of 3 programs under that right now. So we've got the Multifamily Energy Efficiency Capital Upgrades Program, or MECUP. Really, I should just have Rachel come up here and talk about these things. But that's a research study with Green Umbrella and Over the Rhine Community Housing, looking at understanding how building upgrades for energy efficiency and electrification impact folks' not only their cost savings on their bill, but also their indoor air quality. Did I get that right? Good. It's not my program. The home repair service energy efficiency work that we're doing, home repair service program is through Buildings and Inspections Department at the city. And that is something that you would enter through their program. We, as another department, were able to connect some funding that we have through a rate case settlement with Duke. So when Duke increases their rates, we, as the municipality, are able to intervene, come to some sort of negotiated agreement, and then those funds can go back into the community to help folks with their utility bills. Renter and landlord energy efficiency engagement, or RALI. So this is working with strategies to end homelessness. And this is a program through their network with the Talbert House and the food store.
Free store food bank.
Yes, free store food bank. I got all the words mixed up. So folks that are in those programs are able to take advantage of utility bill support, as well as landlords are able to get partial funding for energy efficiency upgrades to their buildings. Finally, the behemoth that most folks don't even think about is the energy aggregation program. So our office runs our residential community choice aggregation program. This is something that back in 2011, the city voted on making so that all of our residents are automatically opted in. You can opt out. Call my supervisor, Rob, and you can opt out. But basically, the sort of the same concept of the co-op, only with like 80,000 households, and we can go out on behalf of the residents of the city and get cheaper energy proposals. And we are 100% renewable energy through our aggregation program, so I think that's pretty special. And also, the goal is always to offer a lower rate than Duke. Finally, we also have a colleague who focuses on workforce development in sort of the green field. That's Thanapat Vichichat. His contact information is here, and I don't work on his programs, but he has been doing some amazing work. So he worked with the chamber to produce the Cincinnati Green Workforce Landscape Analysis Report back in May of last year, and that, forecast a lot of important work and investments that are needed in green workforce in our area. He's connected $150,000 to 6 training programs through our office's Seeds of Change grant program. There was a workforce development round. He piloted a Building Performance Institute, or BPI, training program, and that's also something that we're carrying forward in the MIF. We have 2 cohorts this month to train people in building science principles and building analyst technician certifications. So that's very exciting. That upskills contractors who might be looking to offer an energy assessment business line who are already electricians or plumbers or drywall hangers, and the like. Finally, if you are available April 19th, I hope you're planning on coming to the Greater Cincinnati Earth Day event down at Washington Park. Thanapat is planning a big green job summit. So it's got its own section. If you go over there and take a look at the map, its own section of Washington Park for the Green Job Summit. He has a number of panels that are going to be speaking. So that'll be lots of good information there. I'm going to hand it over to Andy at Donovan, and you can actually get into the workshop now after I've talked a lot. Thank you, Andy.
All right, well, great to be with you all. And we're going to spend almost no time on this and jump into a little bit of the content. This is just a little bit about who we are. Tim and I own the company. We're here in town. We've been here for a decade. We love doing this work, and it's a proud moment for us to be on the team with the city and others to get this work done. One big project that we and the city and many other important folks, including the port, who's here today too, have been working on over the last couple of years is to incubate and then put out new programs to support the energy burden that many folks are dealing with, homes, buildings, renters, and the like, in the form of the Cincinnati Green Bank. The Cincinnati Green Bank isn't a traditional bank in the sense of a depository institution, but rather developing innovative financing solutions to help get more of this work done that we all want to see happen so that everybody can spend less on electricity bills. And so it's been a multi-year effort. There's been a lot of community engagement for it thus far. And it's really now, at the end of the day, housed inside of the Cincinnati Development Fund, which in and of themselves has nearly 40 years of community lending experience. And they're closely aligned with the port, focused between the two of them on both affordable multifamily housing and single family housing to, again, bring more programs, bring more resources. This particular effort focuses on innovative financing or lending strategies, but we all know that you got to bring along any subsidies or grants alongside those financing strategies to make these projects as affordable as possible. And so as there was a lot of work around the Green Bank programming efforts, when we were thinking about, well, how do we make a big impact? We can't just come in and launch new financing programs, right? And that's not what anybody's saying today, but rather this is a little bit of a stair-step approach of thinking about how to get at this issue of everybody spending more than they want to or need to on energy bills. And so first, you're going to bring to bear, and this is one big thing we're going to do today, is really bring to bear a lot of these utility payment programs that are out in the marketplace, those that fill different roles for different folks, make sure that those dollars are maximized. From there, you talk then about largely free or grant-funded home energy upgrade programs. They're generally income qualified programs, but it's quote unquote free money or subsidy. And so you got to, of course, make the most out of that next. After that, it's the rest of the home energy upgrades that you may need to pay for in some way. And that's where a loan product can come in to support. And then once you're super energy efficient, that's the best time to then figure out, well, how much more energy do I have that I need? And can solar help cure the rest of that need? And what are some different ways of doing that? And so it's kind of a 4-step process. In a perfect world, life never moves in this linear of a fashion, but I think just in terms of focusing on the messaging and how we bring programs out to market, this is kind of how we thought about it. And so that's a good transition into now my colleague Ella, who's going to kind of walk through a little bit about the basics and the fundamentals of energy efficiency in a home. What does that actually mean? And then we'll be able to talk about the programs that can actually help to make some of those investments.
That was a good intro, Andy. Thank you. My name is Ella O'Malley. I'm a member of Donovan's operations team. And thanks to the City of Cincinnati and Green Umbrella, me and my colleague Emma were also a part of a cohort to become building analyst professionals. And That means that the Building Performance Institute deemed us qualified enough to perform advanced technical audits and then analyze those results and make recommendations based on the homeowner's needs and goals. So if you ever find yourself in a position where you can receive an energy audit, the first thing you want to do is create a list of complaints about your home, highlighting existing problems. This could be a leaky window to a totally busted AC unit, and then lay those out at the beginning or end of the audit so that we could perform the most appropriate inspection, which would include going around the interior and exterior of the home, definitely looking at appliances. If they're gas, we're testing carbon monoxide. We're doing roof inspections, gutters, and then something called a blower door test, which is to test the airflow of the home. So that would help you with your potential leaky window situation. And then, how do we do? Hi. So this is where you would start after you get an energy audit. And there are plenty of resources on the city's website to help you move through this kind of low cost to free to low cost energy upgrades that you can do yourself without needing to be referred to a professional. So that includes, switching to LED lighting, replacing your thermostat with a smart thermostat, which would allow you to program it fitting your needs when you're present in the home. That's when it needs to be running. If not, then you can just turn that off and save some money there. Washing clothes in cold water, which I'm sure is something you've heard before. But then sealing windows and doors as best you can. I know we do that in my parents' home in the winter. We put up plastic so that, keep the warm air inside, the cold air outside. Yeah, so then your next step, after you've done everything you can on your own, is to talk to a professional. An energy auditor will make recommendations, help you get connected to professionals who can do some general upgrades, like replacing gas appliances with electric, more efficient products at the end of their useful life. Air sealing and insulating your attic, crawl space. And if you want to be super awesome, doing a cool roof installation and then pairing it potentially with solar after you're, as efficient as you can possibly be. A professional might recommend you upgrading to a heat pump to replace your inefficient HVAC equipment. Heat pumps use electricity to move warm air instead of generate it, so takes less of a toll on the energy burden in your home. Will reduce your overall utility costs and your long-term operating costs as well. Good thing for people like me, I'm a renter. You're not left out. You can install, window units and mini split systems to have more control over your home, assuming that your landlord is compliant. But encouraging that relationship between landlords and renters is really important. And then, whoopsie, hello. Like we were saying, once you're done with kind of this step and you're ready for, the senior role of energy independence and personal resilience, you might consider solar. And installing solar panels on your home would reduce your overall energy bill that you're paying to Duke, and then insulate you and protect you from future rates. Pairing this with battery storage would be a huge plus as well, but it's not required to get started with solar installs on your home. If there are no questions, hand it back to Andy.
Okay, so we have 9 programs we're going to go through. It's going to be quick by design, just to be able to, I think, one, just put on the table the fact that there's a lot of great resources in our community, and two, I think just recognize that the only other side of the coin kind of matter related to that is that it can be a little bit tough to maybe figure out if you're coming in cold to this area to know where to navigate or where to start. And there's always United Ways 211, but hopefully we can unpack a little bit of the details just so that anyone in the room and anyone that we know, our neighbors and friends, can have a better sense of feeling like it's a very accessible place to start, depending on who they are and what they have going on. And so again, we're going to go through this totem pole of utility payment programs, get the utility debts paid off, get the bills to go down first, and then thinking about grants for energy upgrades and loan programs. And so program number 1, and the first 3 or 4 programs are all grant-funded income qualifying programs for oftentimes different subsets of the community, just depending on what type of stakeholder that organization serves. And so our friends over at Habitat for Humanity have a program for folks in Hamilton County and beyond, but we're kind of Hamilton County centric for the majority of our discussion today, focused on both seniors age 65 or older, as well as what they call veteran connected households. So that could mean that you, the homeowner, are a veteran, your spouse is a veteran, your child's a veteran. There's a kind of lengthy definition of what that means, but the bottom line is that they serve both seniors and veterans with what is a 100% funded rebate program, up to typically $10,000 or $15,000. Every project's a little different, and so they don't necessarily publish a cap on the program. But Habitat themselves delivers a lot of the upgrades in-house, and so it's a great program for those that are kind of fit into the qualification thresholds, and definitely a place to start for those that do. And in each of these slides, we're going to have some basics of the program, and then in this lower right corner, we're going to have the way that you take action, just to make sure no one feels like they're left hanging with any of these programs. In terms of our other friends over at the Council on Aging, not surprisingly, they are also serving seniors. Now, in their definition, it's folks over the age of 60. It's a little bit of a difference in how Habitat defines seniors versus Council on Aging defines seniors. I'll go with 65. I'm a little further away from it then, but regardless, it's important to kind of know and be able to navigate these things in a way that's efficient and accessible for folks. And so, again, fully subsidized program. This is focused a little bit more on repairs versus full-out replacements of new HVAC systems and the like. So the income cap, though, is higher. And so in this case, they're serving folks 300% of the federal poverty level, which in this case, as an example, is roughly a $99,000 annual income for a family of 4, just to put it into context. And if there's any income eligibility questions as we talk about area median income and federal poverty level, we can help kind of answer those questions a little bit at the end if that's useful. And again, there's the ways to get engaged to be able to take advantage of this no-cost program. For people working cooperatively, they've been doing home repairs and energy-specific focused upgrades for quite a while. One major program they have had for a long time is the Duke Energy Funded Weatherization Program, which is focused primarily on air sealing and insulation, all with the eye on directly saving on energy bills. They also have a broader home repair program that caters to other non-energy home repairs. But certainly, I think at the end of the day, anytime you hear about a home repair program, and certainly the 4 or 5 that we're talking through, there's a component of that home repair program, if not a big component, that can also reduce your energy bills. And we want to, if nothing else today, make that strong linkage between these great home repair programs and the fact that you can, in addition to getting an issue solved for, you can also start saving on your energy bills. And so PwC has a couple of great programs that they sort of tie in together, focused both on homeowners that are either elderly or disabled, as well as renters that are sitting inside of the Duke footprint in Hamilton County and beyond. And so, again, another good place to start or engage with if you haven't already. The state of Ohio just took back over a program that some folks might be familiar with previously, having been run by the Community Action Agency. And this has now moved over to the State Job and Family Services, which is the ability for income qualifying homeowners and renters anywhere in Ohio, including certainly Hamilton County and Cincinnati, to be able to get put onto a fixed rate utility cost structure tied to their annual income. And so as you can see here, if you are a gas heated home, that would be capped, your utility bill on a monthly basis would be capped at 5% of your monthly income. If you're heated by electricity, capped at 10% of your monthly income. So again, when it comes to like places to start, get those utility bills down first. This and some of the other kind of utility subsidy programs is really a great place to start. One of the other Council on Aging programs also is buying down the utility bills right off the bat. And so good to know that this is out here. It is at the state level, so it's a little bit more of a I would say an opaque process to get through the application process. And there's a phone number to call as well that does start local, although they'll ultimately send you back up to the state. This is the program that Nikki referred to, just to say that it's certainly an important piece of this puzzle. And at the end of the day, call 211, the United Way intake process. They're helpful and very familiar at navigating folks into this program. But there are a couple of different key partners, Talbot House and Freestore Food Bank, that are involved in supporting this program. There's a component of this program that is both for renters or tenants, as well as for landlords or property owners. And so at the end of the day, though this program is able to fund directly, as it suggests here, up to $500 in direct subsidy. I know Rachel's certainly very familiar with the program and could probably be among the folks to take questions on any detail at the end of the session here. But a great program that's out there that is also accessible. There used to be a day where us in Ohio had utility rebates. That day has been gone now for too many years. Maybe it comes back someday. But for our neighbors and friends, since we are a tri-state area that are in Kentucky and Indiana, we did just want to make sure folks did know that there are very good rebates still in those states, and they never really went anywhere. And so let your friends and family members know, share this resource with them. That's certainly a great place to start as well. It's a very broad-based program. There's both a low-income and moderate-income component to it, and it can do a lot for homeowners. So moving into the loan programs, we have a few of our friends here with support today, and this is a relatively new and innovative low-interest loan program that they brought to bear, that they brought philanthropic capital in from Community Foundation, along with their leveraging of some private capital as well, public capital as well, to be able to put forward a couple of things: a free energy audit, number one, which is the place you got to start, as Ella alluded to kind of have an understanding of the best way to invest in energy efficiency in your home. Then number two, a partial grant, a small grant that can buy down the net cost of your upgrade. And then there is a very low interest loan, as we say here, of up to, at 2% interest rate, up to $25,000, that can kind of solve for the rest of that cost. So you have free audit, partial subsidy on the overall cost of the upgrades, supplemented by a low interest loan. That again is kind of the three-legged stool that I think we feel is essential to get a lot of this work done, because it's hard for any program to rely entirely and for a very long time frame on all grants. And so at the end of the day, and there's a little bit of a grid here, just to think about the idea that payments could be quite low, depending, of course, on how much debt you take on, but anywhere from, let's just say, $50 up to $230, and yet it wouldn't be uncommon for there to be an ability to save some or quite a bit even on the energy bills, which helps, of course, pay off that loan in an efficient way. There is also, for any neighbors that we may have in Sedansville, a fully grant-funded program for home repairs as well for that neighborhood, up to $15,000. There's a LISC-led loan program called Revive and Thrive, with the partners that you see at the bottom of the screen, including the city and the county. Again, Habitat. And these loans ultimately are a combination of public and private capital that LISC has brought to bear, and they are being serviced by Warsaw Federal, the minority depository institution that serves our community and a very important piece of our community. And so, and then Working in Neighborhoods is also a partner on the intake process. And so it's another great low interest loan program. They route everyone through the United Way 211 process. We have some contact cards back there for making sure that you have a handy reminder of the best way to get to United Way to help through that intake process. But another great program that's in the community as well. And then lastly, this is a program that's now 20 plus years old. A low interest loan program that Hamilton County has long supported, which ultimately allows, with support of Hamilton County, any participating banks today. Northside Bank is the primary bank that is participating in this program, allows them to deliver a loan for at a 3% subsidy for both homeowners as well as investment property owners of small investment properties. And so that boils down to about a 4% loan for homeowners and about a 5% loan for investment properties. And this is a secure mortgage, so there does have to be equity in the building. And this is a main distinction between this loan program and, say, the Ports Legacy home repair program we talked about earlier, which is unsecured. So that's where the two programs are complementary. But long story short, you can get a great loan through this program, cover a lot of things, anything energy you can think of, as well as some routine renovations and home repairs. And the best way to start is by contacting our side bank. This program is big, it's robust, and it's not available yet. But many of us that work in this space hope it's available soon. It is available if you were in Indiana. So it's a real thing. A lot of money behind it. It's federally funded. And you can see the funding levels there at the bottom, where in Ohio, this would be a $250 million, what the state and Fed calls home energy rebate program. This is funded by the federal government. There's been some delays administratively that have basically put this on hold for the last 15 months or so. But several states have rolled this out already. We're a little bit ahead of Ohio and Kentucky, including Indiana in that process. And so it is a very rich program. It's offering free audits to any folks 80% AMI and below, as well as fully subsidized energy upgrades, covering $25,000, $26,000 in grants to cover any kind of energy rebate you can think of. And so that's okay. And so won't get too caught up on it now, but just keep an eye out for it. Many of us in the community have our eye on this very closely, and we'll be ready to kind of hit the ground running when it's available. We're going to close here with a couple of case studies just to show some real stuff happening in our community. First, some of the great work that Working in Neighborhoods has been doing for a long time. This is their latest and pretty big endeavor they're taking on, which is working on 50 homes in the communities that they serve south of North Cumminsville and the related areas. And 25 of those are major energy upgrades in existing homes. 25 of those are newly constructed or major rehab of buildings, all pushing toward near net zero, or said another way, with solar on the top and a super efficient building, almost zero utility bills paid to do, which is any of our goals, I think, at the end of the day. Making the note that these homes' bills will be more than 70% less than the average person pays. And so this has been a vision far more than a decade in the making, and it's now actively coming to fruition. So it's just a wonderful example of how determination and not taking no for an answer by Sister Barb and team shows that things can really work if you stay at it. And so in addition to that, particularly with some of the newly constructed homes, they are taking applications for folks who might be interested in going through some homeowner training and ultimately becoming an owner of a super efficient, low energy cost home. And so we wanted to feature it not only as a real project that's getting funded now and actively constructed now, but also an opportunity for anyone or anyone that may know anyone who might be interested in moving in to certainly reach out to Working in Neighborhoods for that opportunity. The other opportunity is from our friends at the Port, which is a wonderful solar project that they did that has some really wonky financing behind it, but it boils down to the fact that the Port built 8 new homes on Concord Street in Walnut Hills, and 4 of those homes have solar on top, and they were able to finance the solar at the time the building was being built. And they developed a unique financing structure such that the Port would take on the added cost of solar, and then they sell the house to whoever buys it in the marketplace. But the Port maintains the ownership and operation of the solar system for a period of 5 years. The reason for doing that is that the Port is able to take advantage then as a commercial enterprise of a federal tax credit, which means that it's a subsidy that the homeowner ultimately directly benefits from, that the homeowner on their own cannot benefit from based on the wonky structure of the federal subsidy. And so at the end of the day, the Port structured this to be able to have a direct benefit to the homeowner in the process of both building the home and then selling it in the marketplace. And so it is very neat. It is one of the only examples of this anywhere in the state, and frankly, one of the relatively few examples of this type of structure in the country. So it's a big credit to them. It's an opportunity potentially for our community to expand that financing tool in some way over time. And I think there's a few happy homeowners too in some of those new homes that they've just moved into recently. So that is really a cap on what we wanted to cover for everybody today. We wanted to leave you with a couple of takeaways. There's a nice pack of paperwork on the desk. The 9 programs that we went to have a summary. Yeah, so the 9 programs that we went through are summarized here on the back of this kind of front and back one pages. But you've got also deep dives for the Ports Loan Program, for the Northside Bank Hamilton County Loan Program, for PwC, United Way, and the LISC Revive and Thrive. And so those are all digital versions that are available as well, but we didn't want anyone to leave without having that with you to be able to kind of use, hand out, take pictures of, send to your friends, take action on. There's also a paper copy, and we have a digital version of a survey. So welcome any feedback on kind of what we talked about today. Certainly encourage anyone to start to take advantage of any do-it-yourself measures in the home. Stay safe doing that. Call professionals when you feel like you're beyond your capacity, but there are things that we all can do to kind of get the journey started to then hopefully take advantage of one or more of the programs we walk through today. There's a few more workshops coming up, so rejoin us. We'll have different versions of this. There will be no workshop that's the same. So if any of these sound appealing, if you have a place of worship that you go to that should join us, next week for the tax exempt entities, we would welcome that. If you have an interest or a resident of any kind of apartment building, affordable or otherwise, we would welcome you to join us for those opportunities. And then we have a little bit of a wonkier, if you will, session, getting into a little bit more of the technical weeds around some of the design stuff, focused on architects and engineers, happening at the end of the month downtown. And so hopefully there's more opportunities to engage with folks through this process. That is the digital link to the survey, if you prefer that over the hard copy version as well. So.
I will say the survey is kind of important for our grant. They want to know that we ask for feedback. So if y'all can do that.